Hello.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
How goes it?
Well, we may not have Adam, but uh, we've got you. So that's wonderful. How are
I
you?
I I'm doing all right.
It looks like Adam is about to join. All right.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
I just got home from work about 15 minutes ago.
Oh, goodness. Well, thanks for staying up with us.
Yeah. I purposely took graveyard work so it'd be easier for me to attend these meetings. So
Oh, wow. Well, that's awesome. We're so glad that you are able to join them.
Good morning,
uh,
everybody.
hello. It's good to see you.
It has been a journey this morning. Like what an adventure. And here we are.
What happened this morning, Adam?
Um I I was doing some um uh Portland shelter tours last night. Getting to see some of the our um homeless services, how they operate, what they look like. And so I was driving home last night and my car just wouldn't go faster than 25 miles an hour on I-5, which is not ideal. And I kept getting like an engine overheat thing. And then this morning it wouldn't start. So had to get a tow truck, take it to the mechanic, and here we are. But it made it. I made it. I made it. Everyone's safe, and that's what's important.
I'm glad you made it and you're safe. I hope your car is not too much of a burden on your wallet.
That's the next thing. So, yeah, I thank you though, Jacid. Much appreciated. All right. Um, Karina, our committee is small but mighty. Is that accurate? You're on mute,
You
Karina.
are muted.
Thank you. Yes, we are small but mighty.
Uh,
Absolutely. So let's see, as far as everybody being here, not sure if Saphir is going to be able to join. Anna is out.
yep.
We have a few people that are optional, but other than that, it looks like we have
We have
everybody.
quorum, I'm pretty sure. So
Yeah.
Believe we do. So I think we are good to go with an official meeting. And Tyson, it's good to see you.
Sorry, I have too many screens and I couldn't find my mouse. Good morning. I'm Tyson Payne for those who I haven't met yet. Happy to be here.
I'm happy you're here too. Let's do a quick round. I know it said what's your favorite bumper sticker you've ever had is the question. So let's do name, roles, pronouns, and then what is your favorite bumper sticker you ever had? So Tyson, you're off mute. You start us off.
Thanks. Tyson Payne, he, him. My oldest son is an artist, and I live in Newburgh. If you know Newburgh, it's got a very interesting history if you look at local news. And my son, who's now 21, wanted to kind of do some things back in 2020 and 2021 when there were just kind of some horrible things happening in our community to kind of raise awareness. And he entered a contest to create bumper stickers. And he wrote one that says "racists eat poo." And like, and it was very deliberate and colorful, and it was beautiful. And that's my favorite sticker. Not just because it's a funny message, but because my son made it. So he also won the contest, which was kind of cool.
That's awesome. Love that. Jacid?
yeah. My name is Jasit Nunez Pineda. I use she, they pronouns. And my favorite bumper sticker, it was something along the lines of like, don't honk at me. I also don't want to be doing what I'm doing. I don't remember verbatim how it goes, but it was something along those lines, and that resonated well with me.
Love it. Annette?
Hello, Annette Magico to me. She, her pronouns, part of the peer support for SOCAC for families. Um, I don't know one. I know in a prior meeting I said it was, a play on the things that used to be in the car that say baby on board, and it was adult on board. So I thought that was kind of cute and catchy. So that would be it.
Love it. Corinna?
Yeah, Karuna, she, her pronouns. I'm trying to think of the best one I've seen, and I'm distracted by all the things everyone said, but I think it's normally the ones that have like the really tiny print and that say, like, if you can read this, you're too close and get off my butt.
Great. Cody?
Hi, everybody. I'm off camera today. I'm in the middle of a move and I'm joining from my phone because my Wi Fi is not set up yet. So thanks for your patience. I'm Cody Welty, use he, him pronouns. I'm a research analyst for Oregon Health Authority and also SOCAC. My favorite bumper sticker that I have seen, I think, is one that always makes me laugh, which is just the "Don't honk at me, I'll cry." Like my wife probably should have that on hers, but she does not. But I love those. I think they're funny.
Great. Adam Peterson, I use he, him pronouns. I am one of the CCO reps for SOCAC and serve as the chair along with Jasit as your chairs of this committee. My favorite bumper sticker, it sounds, well, my nickname in high school was Peto, Peto, not Pedo. It was because my last name is Peterson. The coach just called everyone like by their shortened last names. And so I had a little hatchback, like a 1992 Mazda 323 was my first car. And my buddies just thought it was funny that I like drove this small thing. So they got me a license plate that said Peto's Beast. And so that it's not a bumper sticker, but I had this license plate holder, and that made it with me on every car that I had until I got married. And then it it needed to go away at that point. But it was funny to have the same license plate holder from my like 1992 Mazda hatchback with me every step of the way. Um, so we are welcome to the first ever meeting of the Membership and Development Committee. Um, we are going to do a number of things today, including just kind of getting to know each other, introductions and roles. Jasit's going to go over the group agreements. Anna is not here to go over the charter, but we can review it and see how we feel about it. If there's anything missing, we can add it. Nothing's finalized yet. And then what we will try to do is talk through how we want to do onboarding plans and what sort of like how, knowing that this is a volunteer board and that we all have other responsibilities, how are we going to prioritize between the different types of onboarding that we know we're going to have to do. And then we'll talk through recruitment for the open seats, what that looks like. And then this is a quarterly meeting of this group. So just plan for anything we would need to do. It looks like all the way in August, which is crazy to think that would be the next quarterly meeting, but that's the world we live in. So, any questions before we get rolling into and what the task of our committee is today before we dive into everything? And also, thank you all for volunteering to do this. It's great to have some really strong representation from a bunch of different parts of SOCAC here. So very much appreciate it. Jacey, do you want to take us away with the group agreements?
Yeah, I will. And sorry, I'm on my phone. My new space that does not have the space to accommodate my computer setup, so I don't have access to a computer at the moment. Um, Hence why I'm off camera so I can read things. But the group agreements, which are I'm sure the ones that we all know and love already, be present and participate, listen actively, respect others when they speak, and avoid interrupting. Avoid acronyms. Use the chat box to write definitions or ask for clarification. Varied and opposing ideas are welcome. Challenge ideas, not people. Use the names and pronouns people introduce themselves with. Honor those with quieter voices. Lean in and lean back. Avoid problem solving for individual solutions or crises. And focus on our purpose, improving the systems of care in Oregon. Um, it's ones we've kind of been over before. I do think that the conversation of how these kind of show up in this space and what they mean for us in this space is pretty important. Um, so I kind of want to get people's thoughts on how we honor this, or if there's anything we should add or remove. I know right now we're still small, small and mighty, but I think some of these become a lot more relevant as we continue to build and add more folks to our ranks.
The thing that I see that's missing when we talk about, especially like membership of and if we're going to be making decisions on how we recruit, where we recruit, I would say another group agreement that I would add is think about the voices that aren't in the room as well, and how we elevate different perspectives that aren't our own, and make sure that those voices are brought into the space.
I think that's very, very well said. Um, one of the big highlights of this is to make sure we are kind of having those diverse experiences at the table. Um, so really trying to honor those voices that might not be here or might not have the ability to be here, I think is a great thing to focus on. I'm not sure who edits this or how we go about editing this, but definitely something add for sure. Um, I think right now where we currently are, the you know, I would hope the honoring the quieter voices wouldn't be as prevalent of a thing since there's only like, four of us or five of us. Ideally, we're all kind of, have enough time to get our pieces in. But again, I think that one becomes more relevant as we get bigger, if we get bigger. I guess that should also be something we discuss what size capacity of this is. Um, yeah. Also, I problem solving for individual solutions, I don't think really relates to us. Um, since I can't see an individual solution or problem that would be handled through membership. So maybe that could be one to remove. Any other idea from folks? Anything that resonates well, anything that doesn't fit well or doesn't belong?
No, I think the two edits that Adam and you brought up make sense for our group. So I would support those changes.
I agree. I love these. I think they're great.
It works for me as well, but I
Awesome.
don't think I'm a voting member. I'm here to support.
Yeah, I
No, but
guess.
your voice matters.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
Do we, this is my first time being a chair in SOCAC, so do we have to take a vote for we probably do for every sort of decision that we would make. We've got to at least make sure that we're all in agreement or have at least consensus voting. So out of the voting members, I got Jacete, Tyson, and Annette. Are we all by show of hands or thumbs up or whatever, like emoji, are we good with making those changes?
Adam, can I
I'm good
pause you
with
really
it.
quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Cody.
We're moving away from the consensus model, and now it's just Straight majority voting.
Okay. Well, we've
Sweet.
got 4 out of 4, so that is majority. We're good to go.
Cool. Then those edits stand, and we move forward with these agreements as they are going to be written. Um, and I think that's it for my piece. Adam, you want to pick up on the charter conversation?
Sure. Corinna, do you mind putting it on screen for all to see, please? And it is in your in the invite to the meeting. The proposed charter is in the invite as well. Um, so we need if you need it on your own screen, we can do that as well. Um, I will say I spent a little bit of time reviewing this, and I know Jasit has seen it before, but I'm just curious for Annette and Tyson. Had you guys gotten to spend any time with the charter prior to this meeting? I think a good use of our time then might be to take 10 minutes, review it, and then come back with any notes and edit. And I hate to just have everybody go off screen and go mute, but I think I'd rather have a working session where people have reviewed the document and like have some working knowledge of it rather than just try to do things on the fly. So can we take, let's go till 8:55, and everybody review the document, get to a point where you feel familiar with it, comfortable with what's being said, and then we can come back at 8:55 with any sort of notes, edits, or whatnot that we need. Seem reasonable?
Sounds
Sounds
good to me.
good.
Wonderful.
I apologize. I'm having a hard time finding it in the invite. Can you direct me again to where it's at?
Yeah, it's in the calendar invite. When you click into it, it should have 2 documents attached to it, a SOCAC membership
Oh, got it.
committee charter. Okay,
I only half opened the invite. That was my problem.
Oh,
no
I got it.
problem.
also on our website, we do have it linked, which I was going to drop in the chat just a second in case anybody's having problems.
Thank you.
And y'all are welcome to use the chat for note taking too if you have questions that pop up as you're reading.
Hey Sandra, welcome. Sorry, we are taking a few minutes to familiarize ourselves with the charter since not everyone had gotten a chance to look it over. And so we are that is why we are all sitting silently on a screen together.
Oh, okay. I just assumed my sound wasn't working or my visual wasn't working or my audio. Like it seemed like it was likely a tech problem on my side. So, uh,
No,
sounds good.
no, it was just you came at a a very weird time for a group of people to be on screen together.
Okay, thanks. I'll review Charter too. I actually, Adam didn't, I couldn't kind of recall what this meeting was or why it was on my calendar, which is so terrible.
You know, I did a reply all to the calendar invite. What I realized is there are a lot of people on that calendar invite who are not actually on this committee. So, Sandra, you are not on the membership and retention committee. So,
Okay, so I'm not
you
supposed to be on here. I was like, perfect. All right, I will hang up and leave you all alone.
you're welcome.
Sandra, oh, Sandra, I was going to let you know, I think you're on the optional. This committee kind of came from like DEI and a couple other spaces. And so we've put some people in the optional, and if they want to come, that's great, but you don't have to be here.
Oh, okay. I got it. That makes sense. Yes, because I was like, what happened to the DEI committee? I was on there. Um, I it looks like you all have it covered. If need any juvenile justice, like any uh lens from the DEI committee world, I'm happy to join anytime you would like. And maybe I could be one of those hands on deck if you need me.
An ad hoc member.
Yes, yes, bring me in. Come, put me out. I'll be on the bench, but you let me know when you need me, okay?
Okay, sounds
Thank you,
good.
everyone. Happy
Thanks
Friday.
for being here.
Bye,
You too.
Sandra. Bye.
Bye. All right. All right, we had a celebrity guest appearance. That was fun. All right, let's talk through just section by section. And Corinna, I'm going to ask you are taking notes, and I just want to make 100% sure that that's correct. So as people are stating anything that needs to be added, subtracted, changed, you will be capturing that for us. Is that accurate?
Yes, and our bio, we did change our format on how we're doing all our meetings, so all the meetings are recorded now as well, which will be posted to our YouTube channel. So if anybody's interested in like going back and re-watching some of the things, or maybe missed something or pieces of a meeting, that's always going to be an option now with our meetings.
Okay. Super helpful to know. So let's start with the purpose. And just as people had any comments, notes, questions, I'll be fully honest, I don't know what the youth adult partnership flower model is. So anybody familiar with that? Can anybody fill me in on what that is and what just to make sure that I'm fully on aware and know what that is.
From my recollection, it's the model that was kind of created based on the work done by the youth and family councils in association with their um, respective contractors. I think the bigger bulk of it comes from family council, if I'm not mistaken. Since the youth council had a lot of discrepancies with what they agreed with what our contractor put out. Um, but I think that exists on the SOCAC website. I can't say I remember it 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
currently
can
we
add a
don't.
little bit. Oh, go ahead, Karina. You first.
Sorry, I was gonna say, currently we don't have it posted on the website.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
no, you're fine.
The shorthand is there's a lot of different ways to view youth adult partnership, and the flower model has some examples on that. And so there's different I guess modalities for it. And so is it adult led, youth driven? There's like some options on there within the flower model instead of uh, thinking of it as like a hierarchy, like a ladder, where like the ideal is the youth do everything. It's kind of a change to a different style of model where, there's not one like peak to the ladder, but a lot of different flower petals that are more representative of what fits the space.
What Cody said.
Okay. So I should familiarize myself with it, but no one who is familiar with it has a problem with it being listed as a part of our purpose in the charter.
So can you repeat that? I don't think I caught the first half of that.
No, as long as no one else has a problem with it, I'm good. I just wanted to make sure that other people who have better knowledge of it are okay with that being included.
Are other aspects of SOCAC adopting the same model?
Yes, every committee has this in it.
Oh, yeah. I'm good with it.
Cool.
I am too. Just from I'm familiar with it, but and I like the aspect of youth and family or youth and adults, whatever. Kind of it reminded me of just kind of coming together and being supportive of each other. So I think that fits right into us when we actually start developing and doing outreach for membership and talking about that. So I'm in complete support of it.
Me as well.
Awesome. Any other comments, questions, or just things to talk about as it comes to the purpose?
I mean, I don't really have any questions about the purpose, but I kind of just had a general question for my own knowledge. What's with the sponsor thing? Like, what's that about? Are we the sponsor? At the bottom of the charter is like a little sponsor signature and date and like addendums and stuff.
I believe that would be you and Adam, and then also signed by then Anna. But I could be mistaken.
Well, it sounds like everyone's pretty okay with the charter as it stands. Um,
Well,
and
we've
there's
only
always
only covered the purpose so far, so I do want to make sure that we're just going
oh,
through expected outcomes and
sorry.
deliverables and what just the other sections of the charter as well.
Sorry about that. I totally jumped on that.
No problem. So then let's move on to everyone's cool with the purpose, expected outcomes, deliverables. Those seem reasonable to me. Any thoughts on uh, outcomes and deliverables?
I did have a question. You mentioned earlier that it's recruiting and retention are two objectives. And I see a lot in here about recruiting, but I don't see anything about retention. Is that as far as are there, and this might be a Cody question, are there like metrics that we need to hold ourselves to or that we can follow as far as retention goes?
Nothing that's built into the strategic plan. So that would probably be something that if you wanted to develop as this committee, I could help with. Or um, I don't know. Yeah, those are I pretended like there was an extra thing to that, and there's not. I think that's the end of my sentence.
Gotcha. So maybe this is a later part, the retention piece, but
I think it's pretty reasonable to add a bullet point in there about keep SOCAT seats filled timely, ensure uh, like member retention as determined, or I don't know. I think we could. I think member retention and adding a bullet point makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, something along the lines of like ensuring folks have the support they needed to maintain
I
their
like that.
connection with SOCAC. Yeah, because to your point, it is mostly focused on like getting folks in with one point about, you know, folks leaving, right? And kind of having that process. But nothing really on folks staying. So I agree with that. I think we should add something about retention.
The only opinion I will share on adding retention here is to keep it vague and not put a like folks will be retained for X number of months. Because as soon as we put that in there, we're a little more accountable to it. And there's a lot of life circumstances that happen. And so I think the way that you all phrase that is, or makes a lot of sense of just like in a reasonable amount of time or things like that.
I like what Jasid said of like making sure, and we don't have to say make sure, but like helping people feel supported to fulfill their
Mhm.
desired time, or I don't know, something like that. What
Yeah,
it,
that takes the onus
yeah.
off of us to keep them here. So you were in the middle of saying something when I cut you off.
No, I was just gonna ask, how did you say it initially? I loved that. The
Oh
like
yeah, giving folks support they need to maintain their connection with SOCAC.
maintain. Yep.
I like that too. All right. So let's keep moving through. We'll add something. We could do some wordsmithing offline about adding that retention goal or supporting members like to create like I don't know, in like the medical world we want to avoid like or do like avoidable readmissions. Like it's almost like we want to keep people can leave if they're like moving on to something or their time runs out. But we want to have like we want to avoid avoidable people leaving
Hmm.
SOCAC. Like they've got the support they need to continue to maintain their membership. We'll wordsmith it offline. Um, Expected outcomes and deliverables. Well, that's we just covered. Meetings and procedures. Do we feel like a quarterly 1.5 hour meeting with a lot of the recruitment stuff happening in between those meetings is a reasonable time or reasonable uh, yeah time commitment for this group?
I think if we can establish priorities and kind of like keep it at like a one thing at a time basis, that's a good time commitment. Um, if we have a lot of things that we have to get done immediately, then we might want to increase the frequency of these meetings. Um, but if nothing is like, you know, there's no two things we have to do right away, then I think it's perfectly fine as is.
Yeah, like I I kind of agree with you, Deceit. Like right now, we know that we've got a bunch of lived experience voice spots that we need to recruit and train, like bring people on, and I think that is going to be a like I mean, as that would be one of my priorities would be that we would do like a really robust recruitment effort for those lived experience voices, and then make sure that we've got that onboarding ready to go for those folks when they come on board. And like, I don't think one meeting a quarter for right now, knowing that we've got I believe it's 4 lived experience voices that we're going to be recruiting for and then having to do a an onboarding for like that if that's our plan for this quarter, we're going to have to meet much more regularly than once in this quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for now, as we ramp up, maybe it's once a month for now, and then as things start coming together, then we could switch to the quarterly meetings. But I think for now, we do need to connect more often.
How would we put that in this charter, Corinna? Any ideas on how you do like a variable time frame, like so that it's if we're chartering something, we got to make it so that we can actually like follow it.
Maybe we could put like a minimum of one, meet quarterly with, ad hoc meetings or meetings as needed.
Yeah, I think that would be a great way to add it in. And we weren't quite sure how often this group would need to meet, so we didn't want to put too much of a burden, but it definitely what makes sense for the group. And if we want to utilize this time, or if maybe there's better times, or they could be like, oh, we've now had an interview ad hoc meeting being scheduled. So what I think, whatever works best for the group, we're definitely flexible there.
Yeah, so something along the lines of meet at minimum quarterly with intermittent meetings as needed.
Um,
Works for me.
Yeah, I think that's great.
All right. Are we good with if we make that change then, that we are good with the meetings and procedures section?
I'm good with it.
Agreed.
Excellent. All right, scope and
Okay.
authority. This committee will work to recruit, interview, onboard new governor appointed members. It will guide onboarding work for new members and may recommend member training to improve outcomes or effectiveness of the work of the council. My only note here was that it doesn't mention connection, like intentional connection with the youth advisory folks who I know are doing a lot of onboarding, like creating a lot of onboarding activity. And there's also the family advisory piece as well. And there will probably be like have to be coordination for onboarding for new members with both of those entities. And I think that needs to be like called out that we are a part of creating the onboarding plan, not the sole creators of the onboarding plan.
I would agree with that. I think I think if the vision is that we're the final say on the onboarding plan, then that can be stated like that. But there is, always going to be collaboration, ideally. Um, because I don't think we have all the information or intelligence in the world in this room.
And I would also add that being part of the family advisory, we're just getting up and running. So I think just having, so whatever, I think we just have to work together in unison on that, as we gain more participants and family voice. So I think that we'll just have to, I think it's a together thing. It's a collab thing. So we collab with you and vice versa.
Okay, that works. We don't need to add anything official then, and we can just like I liked what Jasid was saying about like if we're kind of the overarching, just making sure that we're incorporating all aspects from the and that we are collaborating with the youth advisory and the family advisory to do any sort of onboarding, but that we are the final say in what that onboarding plan looks like. All right, let's keep moving to leadership facilitation and reporting. Any comments there or thoughts on this?
I mean, I'm fine with it. Um, I guess to phrase it a bit differently, is there anything else you would like to see from us as your chairs?
I think it's good.
I think I gave this feedback to Anna prior, and I don't think it's I think this is the right space for it, is that um, the chair of this committee and the co-chair also then serve as executive committee members. And I think that that's important that it's mentioned that like the chair and co-chair will serve on the executive committee to provide um, consistent voice to like as for this committee to the executive group as well.
Hmm.
Um, all right, public participation. Any thoughts, comments, questions?
I think it's fine. Maybe just adding that line that um, like folks with lived experience are welcome to chime in at any time. Kind of the same as with full council, unless that changed without me knowing.
Cool. I'm I like it. Timelines, milestones, uh, strategic plans and makes sense. Membership and composition, up to 7 members of this committee and members of with lived experience will have equal authority and voting power to all other members. I hope nobody has challenges with that. Goal is to have at least one youth and one family member on the committee. And then member roles and responsibilities. Anything there that needs to be added or changed or thoughts there? All right. Well, barring those edits, I think we've got a charter that we can all agree on. Corinna, what does that look like about like getting us a copy in order to vote? Could we do an email vote once we get like the edits that we proposed on in there? Is that allowable?
That's a great question. Let me check into that. I'll
Okay.
work on getting these updates done to the charter, and then I would think next week we'd be able to get that out and double check on that, how we can do the voting.
Okay,
So
cool. Because I would want to see the final product before voting on it.
makes sense.
Wonderful. Nice work, everybody. We are uh ahead of schedule. Let's pull up the next. Um, okay. Now we can talk through onboarding goals and timelines, and prioritize sequence for onboarding. Um, Either Corinna or Cody, when it says LSOC, I know that we're talking about local SOCs. I'm curious what that means about like creating an onboarding for local SOCs, like to SOCAC. What exactly does that mean?
I am not sure. That might be more of an Anna question, unless Corinna, um, you have a better idea than I do.
I know that there is work that we're doing around all three of these different groups. I I feel like Christy probably is a little bit more connected to the LSOC world and kind of what's going on there and how that all ties together. So I know she wasn't able to make it today, but that's probably something we need a little bit more clarity on
Okay.
to be able to prioritize it. But I believe, yes, so we're working on onboarding um, for the different groups and how we make that work best.
Okay.
I guess I'm a
We're
little confused on like how we work on an onboarding process for local systems of care if we don't really know what they're
it's
like or what they're doing.
It's probably bringing them on board to us and our activities, more so
Gotcha.
than like local support. Um, we're operating at a bit of a staff skeleton crew this week, so thanks everyone for your patience too.
All good, Cody. You guys are doing great. Um, um, I will exercise my right or as a committee member then to throw if I would where I would want to put all of our energy and resource right now for this small but mighty crew would be to really focus on recruitment of the people with lived experience and development of the onboarding plan for the 4 open seats and creating really doing like a robust recruitment plan on where we recruit, how we recruit, who we recruit, and then as we are recruiting, we're actively developing an onboarding plan that would then support those folks once they're recruited and brought on to SOCAC. That would be my preference on how we would sequence any sort of work that this committee is doing, and so I would throw kind of all of my um, oomph into that bucket.
I would hard agree with you.
Annette, Tyson, thoughts on that?
No, I
I
like
agree.
the plan. I like it. Makes sense.
Okay. And in order to do that well, I like your idea of an ad hoc meetings. I think we would want to do probably the next 2 months of at least monthly meetings with scheduling out like how we wanted how we want to do that recruitment effort and get those scheduled. So my thought is we would do a meeting in May and a meeting in June, and then maybe skip July depending on like because our next one's scheduled for August. I even think maybe we do monthly until that August meeting, and then maybe we move to a quarterly after that. Would folks be okay if we work with SOCAC staff to get that organized? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And Jacid, I know your work schedule's a funky. If we work around it, is that still going to work for you?
Oh yeah. I mean, if it's early in the morning, like around this time, worst case, I'm a little bit late, but I'll always be available. If it's mid-afternoon is when it gets a little rocky for me because I have to be able to get some kind of sleep.
Yeah.
But late
Okay.
afternoon or morning, I'm perfectly fine.
Awesome. We will work to get those scheduled then to do a monthly meeting of this group to now that we've got our priority, you're up next for talking about the recruitment. We've got at least a plan to meet on a monthly basis. And so and we're just going to throw all of our eggs into the people with lived experience bucket and then if Anna and or Christy come back in our next monthly meeting and say, well, here's what we meant when we said agency provider or LSOC. Here's why you should help to prioritize it. We can adjust that, but for now, I think we're all in agreement on where we put our focus and energy. So just seats.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk through then what recruitment would look like for those 4 open seats?
Yeah. I think I guess reading it verbatim off the thing, recruit for the 4 open seats, strategy, outreach goals, DEI lens, and identify diversity, which we currently do not have represented at SOCAC. Um, that's juvenile, legal, system involvement. Who else? Goals, specific, next steps, responsibilities outlined. I I think historically we've attempted to ask folks to bring people with lived experience from their like areas they service. That hasn't really done anything. So, what do we already have at the table that we can leverage to do this outreach, or should we look completely away from who's already at the table and try that way? Um,
I think we need to look away from the table. I think there maybe with the local, do more outreach within the local SOCACs and CBOs. but I think the first place to start is dealing with or working with the locals to so they can recruit from within. Because I know we have people dropping in, but that really hasn't worked. And so I'm looking to do more work with them to find people with lived experience who participate locally.
I think that's great, and I think that would probably fall in line with the working with local SOCs also. So that might be a good bridging for that one down the road. Um, I also, and this is just me kind of thinking about this, I don't think we've established a real connection with like folks' lived experience of tribal communities. At least youth on the youth end, we haven't had anybody from like a tribal background in a long time. So maybe that could be something we look into.
You're absolutely right. That seat has been it's kind of fluctuated. We've had participation and then we haven't. So I think that's an excellent point that we need to do more recruitment from that particular community.
Maybe that's something we could like talk to our we just got a new tribal liaison, right?
We did, yeah.
Or tribal representative. Maybe that's
Yep.
something we could ask them about.
Love it. Love that.
Any other ideas to put on the table? Right now we have leverage local systems of care for any folks already doing that work that have that lived experience, and also reaching out to potentially our tribal liaison to try to establish that connection with the tribal community.
I also see that what one of the asks is someone with juvenile legal system involved, and I believe that could be either from the parent family lens or from the youth experience lens. And I think we might also really lean on our Sandra's and Sonia's as well as representatives of those systems to do individual outreach um, to the people that they work with directly, asking for those lived experience voices that have been directly served by the people that they know in the systems as well.
I agree with that. I think with Sandra being at OYA, I think she has direct um, not contact necessarily, but direct access to for those youth who are currently maybe in custody, and for those who have matriculated through that system. So I think that'd be a great place to start for the youth voice, for parent voice. I think it's going to be more. Uh, Although OYA does have a parent advisory, so I think that'd be a good place to look too. So either one of those, but I think Sandra, using them, Sandra and Sandra, um, or Sonia, I'm sorry, to help us with that, I think would be great. It's a hard place because some parents have already gone through it and have trauma, and then you have parents who are currently within the system, who are trying to help their kid navigate that space. So but I think having someone who's been through it as a youth or is currently in custody is good if they could work on it, and then getting the parent voice as well.
And I think, further down the line, some of this work could also fall within our, the youth council and the family advisory council. But where we are now, I don't think we're at a point where we can start really doing as much outreach. Um, but I think these three areas are really good for finding the folks we want to have at the table. Historically, I think the juvenile justice involvement was considered a requirement for one of the open seats. So I know it's been difficult to fill
Yes, it
forever.
was. Yeah, I think it was, but I think it's kind of twofold. I mean, we have youth in local communities, local detention, who I think could participate, who have gone through the system. And then I think we should utilize OYA as well, because kids are getting out of there all the time, going back to community. So I think we need to leverage that and to pull them in. But I do agree that it's been a hard seat to fill. But I'm determined to get a youth and a family member um, to participate, because it's such a hard system that gets little recognition, if that's the right word. But I want to make sure that those voices get heard. So I think it's kind of on us, and working with our what we have, the two members on the council who work with the juvenile systems. I think it's up to us to really leverage that voice and get us somebody in here. I know many parents who have gone through the system, but I want to have more voice. That's in Portland Metro. I want to hear from other communities as well, what their experiences have been. So leveraging Sonia and Sandra, I think, is a great place to start for either the family voice and or the youth voice as well.
I agree. I agree. And I think, I mean, I think these are really great avenues to go in for our, like, I guess, hard prioritize for our initial sort of push for outreach. Um, I'm curious if there's anything else that hasn't already been stated, but I think if not, those would be really good places to just focus on. Thoughts?
If we want to get really specific next steps, I would be happy to reach out to Sandra and Sonia to invite them to, like, tell them about this conversation and invite them to our next meeting. Although I don't think we should have to wait a month to get started having them do some brainstorming. So why, if folks are okay with it, I'll send them a quick email saying these are like, we really want to highlight the need to have youth voice, lived experience voice with the juvenile justice system or OYA. And we would love to have that family perspective as well. Like, can you think of avenues, ways of which we would recruit for these directly? Like, any thoughts that you would have, knowing that this is going to be a prioritized area for us? And then we can invite them to our next meeting as well to get their perspective in the room with us, but we can have them start doing some brainstorming and thinking, and maybe even doing some light recruiting for us in that interim time. I'd be happy to do that if folks give me a thumbs up and say yes to do that.
I think that'd be great.
Okay, cool. Annette, you
And
good with that?
Absolutely.
All right,
Uh-huh.
sweet. And then, so we have if we have four seats, just see if we have one youth with juvenile justice or justice involved youth, and then one parent.
mm,
Are the other two kind of anybody, or is it
yeah,
a
any lived
specific?
experience.
Okay.
So right now, all seats are technically any lived experience, which is how they've always been written into law. But for a long time, it's been like kind of assumed that they had to be juvenile justice. So it had to be two juvenile justice, one parent or family member, one youth, and then two general lived experience seats. Now with the expansion, we still kind of looking for the same thing. Um, so technically, we don't have to have two juvenile justice involved, but that's what we want. Um, and I think with these areas that we've kind of prioritized here, right? If we have one youth with juvenile justice or justice involved, one family member in that same kind of area of expertise, and then one tribal person or one folk of the tribal communities, and then one member kind of like the more local systems of care. I think that would be a strong group of folks to bring on.
Yeah. Um, Jasit, do you mind being the person to do the outreach to the our new tribal rep for SOCAC to tell them that that's what like how we're looking to prioritize a youth voice as well?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Okay, that'd be awesome. And then we could invite him as well to our next upcoming meeting just to get again broader perspective and brainstorm as we really develop what the recruitment and ongoing piece looks like too.
Hmm.
Great.
I'll I guess Karina, would you happen to have his contact information so I can send him an email after this meeting?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I don't have it right at my fingertips, but let me get that information over to you.
Okay, sweet. That'd be awesome. Thank you. I guess so. What I'm hearing for goals right now is we've identified the areas to prioritize for outreach, which are local systems of care, our folks at OIA, um, and our tribal representative to cover a tribal seat, um, to cover a seat that's more involved with the local SOCAC or local systems of care, and to cover both uh, justice slash juvenile justice involved experiences. Um, Adam will reach out to Sonia and other name that I can't remember at the moment, Sandra, and I will reach out to our new tribal representative person, whose name I cannot remember at the moment. Um, and we'll start the ball rolling there with our next meeting, which will be in a month.
Yep. And
Is
Corinna
that
will be in touch with when that meeting or getting that meeting scheduled and on the books.
sweet?
Absolutely.
I did have kind of like I mean, I know this is starting to kind of brush into the next meeting preparedness or and all that, but um, with us discussing the recruitment, I think it's also important we discuss the onboarding and how we want to go on prioritizing this work throughout these next couple meetings. What I'm hearing is we want to focus the next meeting on kind of getting the ball rolling on starting the outreach and starting that process. Do we want to focus the meeting after that and the next ones on doing the onboarding work, or at least trying to get the bones of a good onboarding process going? Or do you want to do that kind of in between the outreach?
I think the sequencing you talked about makes sense, where next meeting's focused on recruitment, then the follow-up will be like, and I think we come up with our skeleton onboarding plan, what we want to make sure is in it at that same meeting. So next month would have recruitment and then a bones of an onboarding plan. And then we would spend some time in between meetings of filling in that onboarding plan, each of us kind of taking probably a section of it or what we'd want the content to be, and then bringing that to our what would be, I think, our June meeting of what we are thinking about for the initial onboarding work.
That sounds great to me. Efficient and it makes sense. Any thoughts or concerns from anyone?
Sounds like a good plan.
Well, y'all, we were super efficient with our time, and we are going to be out a few minutes early unless there are some additional questions, comments, thoughts from anybody in the room. All right, y'all, appreciate you. This was a great first meeting. Thanks for the attention and the care that you're providing this work, and I'm really excited to get to work with all of you.
Y'all have a
Thank you,
great one, and
everyone.
hopefully by the
Take
next one
care.
I'll have an actual usable setup.
Yeah. Sounds good. Good luck
All
with
right.
Jacit. All right. Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.